Are you frustrated with your dog's reactivity and feel like nothing's working? You're not alone, and in this video I'm going to reveal the top 5 mistakes that are holding you back and how to fix them fast. Stick around because the most common and dangerous mistake is saved for last. And I also share a free guide to make the relevant changes to fix this at the end. Having worked with thousands of reactive dogs and just as many owners, there's one phrase I hear over and over again. I've tried everything. But despite their best efforts, many people unknowingly do things that not only stall their dog's progress, but can actually make their dog's reactivity worse. So today, I'm not gonna just tell you what you might be doing wrong, I'm gonna give you the solutions to finally start enjoying walks with your dog again. And trust me, you'll wanna stay till the end because I'll cover the mistake that most people make and is probably the most dangerous of all. So what is it you're doing with your dog that's making it feel impossible to treat their reactivity? Well, first on the list has to be too many on-lead walks. Did you know the natural walking pace of a human is about 2 miles per hour, whereas a dog's is around 4 miles per hour? Expecting your dog to tolerate walking at half their natural pace is like being forced to walk down the street with someone going at 1 miles per hour. Frustrating, right? So imagine you're doing that 2 or 3 times a day. It's no wonder your dog's wound up like a jack-in-the-box. So, should we just not walk our dogs at all? No, that's not the case. Here's what you can do instead. Incorporate off-lead play in secure areas and use a long line to allow your dog to move more freely. This simple change can dramatically reduce your dog's frustration and in turn their reactivity. Which leads me on to my second mistake dog owners make, and they don't play with their dog enough, or at least not in the right way. When we play with our dog, it should serve a couple of purposes: to learn how to operate better as a team, and to satiate our dog's innate desire to hunt, or rehearse hunting. And here's a key tip: playing tug of war rather than just a game of fetch can be a game changer. Tug allows your dog to really let loose, which is something fetch just doesn't satisfy. But that's not all. Keep watching to find out how playing at home can directly affect their behavior out on walks. Mistake number 3. It's a big one. Failing to add in-home expectations. Many people focus on their dog's behavior outside, but sometimes forget what happens at home sets the stage for everything else. When you allow your dog to bark out the window, out in the garden, or the front door, you're essentially telling them that reactivity is not only acceptable, but it's normal. To fix this, use a house line, teach a solid place command, and confine your dog to a space where they can't rehearse their reactivity when you're unable to supervise them. Reducing their reactivity at home will make it easier to manage outside. Now, imagine going to work every day for years and one day you win the lottery. Would you go to work the next day? Probably not. But that's what you're asking your dog to do if you leave toys and food down in the house at all times. Here's what to do. Each day, take your dog's full portion of food and pour it into a treat pouch. Use it to reward your dog throughout the day for the behavior you do want. This recalibrates their food drive and helps them understand that rewards must be earned, essentially working for minimum wage. This will allow your dog to be much more engaged for food and toys outside of the house when you're trying to actively train their reactivity. And finally, the number 1 mistake reactive dog owners make is expecting different results while doing the same thing over and over again. It's like Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If your dog's reactivity has been happening for months, if not years, it's likely fueled by adrenaline and dopamine, 2 very addictive substances for dogs and humans. But here's the good news: with a plan and some changes, you can start to turn things around. Remember, change must happen with you first. So if you want to see a positive change in your dog's behavior, then expect to change your behavior first. And if you want a free guide on how to do this, click the link in the description below. And if this video resonated with you, hit the like button, subscribe for more tips, and don't forget to download your free reactivity guide in the description below. Start making these changes today and you'll be amazed at the progress you and your dog can make. See you next time.